Hey Lawn Care Nation, so in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about how I price leaf cleanups in my lawn care business. So it's that time of year again where leaf cleanups are underway, and every year when I post photos of doing leaf cleanups or show videos of doing leaf cleanups, I inevitably get questions asked in my DMs or in comment sections asking how I go about pricing leaf cleanups. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I've come up with a system that works for me in my particular situation for doing leaf cleanups over the past 17 years in my lawn care business. Now, it's important to note that like every other service in your lawn care business, leaf cleanups are no different in that there is not a one system or one size fits all type system for all lawn care businesses. This system that I'm going to be talking about is what I've developed over the years. It's what works for me in the situation that I do in my lawn care business, and it may not work for you, but you may find on the flip side that it may work perfectly for you, or just needs a couple of tweaks to work for you in your particular situation. So with that being said, let's get into it. So before I get into the actual pricing, it's important to know how I do leaf cleanups in my lawn care business. So I work only for regular weekly clients. I don't do one-time only type jobs. So that means when it comes to leaf season, I'm not doing clients that are calling me looking for me to clean up all the leaves that have fallen, throughout the whole season, and they're waiting for that, all the leaves to fall to be able to call somebody to come and pick them up. I get the benefit with my regular weekly clients of seeing the very first leaves starting to fall late in the summer, to having progressively more and more leaves each and every week when I'm there to mow their lawns. And throughout the season, I am bagging most of my lawn care properties anyway. So I always have the bagger kits set up on every mower that I have and that I'm using. So the other important thing to also keep in mind is that I don't need to take debris with me. So I don't have to haul those leaves away, especially because I'm doing them week to week. Now, every house that I work for here in the city, every house has a large rolling green bin that the city comes by every week and picks up on garbage day. Typically what happens is I will arrive at the property and I add an extra step. I take that backpack blower first, and then I blow all of the leaves off of the street, along the curbs and stuff, sidewalks, patios, driveways, all that stuff. And I just blow it all onto the lawn first. And then I go about doing my regular leaf or mowing with the leaf cleanup as part of it. So when I started my lawn care business 17 years ago, one of the things I often overlooked was the leaves on the trees when I would go out and do quotes. So I would, land a new client. I'd go out there and start mowing in the spring, and everything would be going smoothly until the fall, and I would start to notice all the leaves starting to drop, and it would quickly dawn on me the realization that I never talked to the client about the extra work that would be involved in cleaning those leaves. And what I ended up doing is I developed a surcharge system with a minimum price laid out for a leaf cleanup. So basically, when I'd go out to quote a lawn in the spring, I'd look at it, I'd give them their prices for, the lawn mowing and all that stuff. But at the bottom of the quote, there'd be a bunch of policies laid out as well as surcharges laid out. And basically it would say something like, all lawns in the fall that have leaves on them will have a minimum surcharge added to the weekly mowing price to compensate for the extra time it takes to, deal with the leaves at that time. This gives, the customer the option that if they don't want to pay a surcharge, that they can of course clean up the leaves themselves. And as long as there's no leaves on the lawn on their regular scheduled mowing day, that they know that I'm going to be there each and every week on that same day, then they don't get charged extra because of course there's no leaves on the lawn. But if they choose to not clean up the leaves themselves, or have me handle it, then they know automatically there that I'm going to clean up the leaves, because obviously I can't mow the lawn without dealing with the leaves, and that they're going to be charged for it, and they know exactly what to expect, at least at a minimum price range. So this works really well because all of my clients are also credit card on file clients. So it makes it very easy at the end of the month when I go to bill them to charge them for the lawn mowing and include those surcharges that they've previously agreed to in that written estimate. That has those surcharges laid out. I also, on every invoice throughout the season, so throughout the spring and summer, every invoice that they get also has a note laying out a policy about, or a reminder about dog waste surcharges, what happens if they don't pick up their dog waste, and also a reminder about that leaf surcharge as well for the fall. So they're reminded about those surcharges on each and every invoice as well, which just clears up any confusion. So now the other thing that I do as well, because the tendency is that the leaves will fall in different stages, is that part of that note is that it's $15 and up at my discretion, depending on that. So for the majority of the season, of that leaf cleanup season in October and stuff, that $15 covers most clients. But there are a few occasions where, a windstorm might come through and, a whole bunch of leaves fall at once. And then it takes a lot more effort. I may up that leaf cleanup surcharge for that week to $30 for that week. On some of the larger properties, I'll start at a $30 leaf cleanup surcharge, or I may start at a $15 depending on the amount of leaves. If I'm using like the Navigator and it's not taking too much extra effort with that integrated vacuum system, I might just add that $15 surcharge to start, and then progressively as the leaf season continues and those leaves start to fall heavier, I'll up that to $30 for the next couple weeks as it gets heavier. And then there's even a couple times where maybe a big windstorm comes through, and then on a particular property that I'm thinking of right now, a whole bunch of leaves will fall at once. Then, for their, regular $60 mowing for that week, I'll add a $60 leaf cleanup surcharge as well. And that may continue 1 or 2 weeks for that really heavy leaf drop towards the very end of the season there. So just a couple of tips if you're going to do this. Number one is get into the habit in the spring when you're quoting lawns to make sure you look at the trees on the property so that you can anticipate whether leaves are going to be something that you're going to have to deal with. And secondly, absolutely make sure that you include that leaf cleanup surcharge on all of your original estimates, all of your, anywhere you're having to quote or, like invoices and stuff like that, have it as a note there so that they're constantly reminded. If you send out newsletters to your clients, things like that on your website, have that all listed so that it's there in multiple places. But the most important is on that original emailed estimate, because like I said, with an emailed estimate, if I go to a client's property and they want a quote, I never tell them the price there in person. I say I get their information, I have a look around, and I say I'll email you a written estimate this evening so that we all have it in writing, sort of thing, right? And what this does is it allows me time to carefully consider all of the aspects of the job, but it also then means that client's going to have to respond to that email with no thank you or a yes, go ahead. And by them doing that, they are agreeing to not only the price of that mowing, but all of those other terms and conditions and surcharges that you have included in that original estimate. So that is basically how I do pricing for leaf cleanups in my lawn care business. Like I said, it's not a one size fits all, depending on how you do leaf cleanups and stuff like that. But you may find that kind of working off of that premise that you might be able to adapt that and make it work for your own lawn care business.